confusing. Who's to say that a bond will not be challenged in the court, because we're really not putting in, it's not the bond being issued.
Well, it's again, we are, what the validation process is for is to determine.
Well, we know that we can do economic development, correct? Under the Florida statute?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
It's irrelevant.
Okay.
Okay, anything else you need to tell us? Any other questions? How many public speakers we have?
So we have 5 speakers.
Okay, well, those 5 speakers, we'll call out their names and have them stand. We'll swear them in.
Scott Bonham, Noreen Murray, Dwayne Billington, Pat Humphreys, and Albert Belvo.
I don't see any of those. Well, okay. Well, 2 of you have already spoken. You don't have to be sworn in again. Only the 2 that have not been sworn in will be sworn in. One that is remaining. Okay, let's call the first speaker. Yeah, she was sworn in.
The first speaker is Scott Bonham, and he'll be followed by Noreen Murray.
I spoke.
Okay.
Want me to speak again?
No, we heard it first time.
Noreen Murray. And she'll be followed by Dwayne Billington.
Still Noreen Murray. A couple of comments. I commend Commissioner Halas for his earlier remarks about his concern for debt service, as that came up during the discussion of impact fees and the possibility of reducing them for permits already in the pipeline. I wish you were showing as much concern for the $130 million of debt that you're suddenly considering. I understand completely, and I support the Commission's efforts at economic diversity, and I am not opposed to public funding. But what I am very skeptical about is this particular proposal. I heard Commissioner Halas speak this morning and also at the previous meeting as if this is the only hope. Nobody else has ever wanted to come to Collier County, and if we don't do this, we will become a backwater. Well, have we thrown hundreds of millions of dollars at other businesses in the past and had them refuse our invitation? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I certainly have not seen that. I mean, there was discussion over funding the Economic Development Council to the tune of a few $100,000. Well, if we put our steam behind, the money behind an effort to recruit taxable for-profit businesses to Collier County, a tax-exempt cluster does not increase our property tax base at all. Jackson Labs, a hospital, a medical school, no property taxes. Yes, they might bring some out-of-state employees in who might pay property tax. I thought this was about getting jobs for Collier County residents who are already living here and paying taxes. Do we want to expand the commercial and industrial tax base? I couldn't agree more. I just think you've focused all of your energy and so much of our future revenue on a project that isn't going to accomplish your objectives. Thank you.
For the record, my name is still Dwayne Billington. Under Section G of findings, there's still determinations that haven't been made. I touched on that earlier. But we really need to look here is at Section 7, where it talks about an interest cap of 8%. So on top of however many dollars we bond, we have to pay it off at 8%. Well, let's look at what 8% does here. At 8%, if you borrow $50 million, it's going to cost you $86,040,000 to pay that off over 15 years, which is a previous time frame referred to in these reports. If you were to borrow $130 million, it's going to cost $223 $1,704,000 over that same 15-year time period. So we're not looking at 130 million or 50 million. Now we're talking a little bit more serious money here. And what has been ignored time and time again in this chambers is that to take that money out of the economy, you are creating a hole in the economy. I asked Vladimir Razoo, your productivity committee member, to run some numbers on that. And this is something where he has a special expertise. By doing that, you're going to experience an annual loss of $78 million out of the economy because of productivity and the multiplier, which Commissioner Halas was kind enough to mention in one of the meetings. So that $78 million a year over 15 years is $1.17 billion. So let's really look at the cost of this project and decide how many jobs we need that are high-paying, making gloves and critter cages and things of that nature. Thank you.
The next speaker will be Pat Humphries, and she'll be followed by Albert Bellevue.
Mr. Chairman, could I speak just briefly?
No. Are you signed up to speak for this?
Yes, he called my name.
Well, wait your turn and you'll get to speak.
He called my name to speak.
When?
So I called his name first and he declined to speak. Now he wants to speak.
Just very briefly, from here.
No, you can't speak there. We got to get you on the microphone. Let this lady speak and then we'll let you speak. Okay?
My name is Pat Humphries, Golden Gate Estates resident and active member in that community. While you're deliberating on how to fund Jackson Labs, please consider the following. Social Security has not paid a cost of living increase in 2 years. Homeowners in the estates are facing flood insurance fees and the economy is still in the tank. Therefore, I believe that estates residents are not in a position to pay the tab for a non-profit organization. I would have, however, seriously considered paying for the tax increase requested by the Big Corkscrew Fire District that addresses the safety and well-being of the estate's residents, rather than a biomedical facility that will address an economic advantage for Ave Maria. And at least I can vote on the fire district increase. Thank you.
Okay, sir, if you want to speak.
Thank you for bending the rules a little bit. I wanted to come up here to thank Commissioner Henning for not only his having his head on straight, but that he has guts enough to say what he believes. Getting old is not for sissies, folks. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about losing our memory, and I am a culprit. I am one of the victims. But he pointed out that there is one positive thing about losing your memory. You keep meeting new people. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Fiala, did you have anything? Your light's on.
Yeah, I do. Have we heard from all of our speakers?
No, there's Albert Bellevue.
And I thank you for pronouncing my name correctly.
Being English.
I beg your pardon?
It's with being English.
I wish some of the displays that were here today had been published. I came here as an observer, and when I read 10B, and I was an attorney in my past life, which I lived in Maine, I'm familiar with Jackson Laboratories, they're good citizens up there, I have nothing to say bad about them as they're located up there. My only concern about 10B is that this is not a way in to general obligation bonds. If this resolution is solely for revenue bonds, and revenue bonds means revenue that's coming out of the project itself, I don't have a problem. And if you, as the board, can tell me that's what you're looking for, in that particular resolution, I don't have a problem. But I do have a general problem about general obligation taxes being raised without the people's right to vote. Thank you.
So that was the last speaker.
Okay. You want to address the general obligation issue? Art?
Yes, sir. The resolution has nothing to do with general obligation bonds. And we all know by statute that any issuance of general obligation bonds requires a referendum.
Okay. Okay. And we got Commissioner Fiala.
Well, I was first, yes, and I just wanted to say Dwayne Billington talked about 78 million a year that is lost on Bar Harbor. They pump $220 million a year into their economy. They might not pay taxes because they're a not-for-profit, nor does anybody's church in this organization, but they pump $220 million a year into their economy, which keeps them alive, by the way. And I'm sorry that he had to make fun of the small businesses that have sprung up because of Jackson Labs. I think nothing is wrong with making gloves for cryogenics, and if you think that that's wrong, then I disagree. I think small businesses are the backbone of our country.
Okay, Commissioner Halas.
Yeah, just so that I get some clarification, what's on the table right now with the item 10B is nothing more than to take this to a court of law to see if this has a private or public purpose for the people here in Collier County. That's all we're doing at this point in time.
Yes, sir.
So at that, I make a motion to move this on forward.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Commissioner Halas to approve.
Second.
Item 10B, second by Commissioner Fiala. And we have a question by Commissioner Henning.
Yes, I do. The county attorney stated that you need to find a valid public purpose. My question to the motion maker, is it the creation of the 50-acre Jackson Lab biomedical, or is it the medical village for a valid public purpose? Whatever it's presently in the resolution, and all we're doing is putting the paperwork forward so that the court can determine whether this is a valid public purpose. Jeff, do we need to find a valid public purpose?
The resolution is the board's findings that there is a valid public purpose.
Okay. My last comment is, I think Dwayne Billington did make a great observation. The repayment of this money is taken out of monies that are already in the economy. It's a very, very, very true statement. And those people who spend those monies that we're going to take out of the economy is the people that we serve.
Okay, then I feel compelled to remark that most of what Mr. Billington has said is untrue. As a matter of fact, there is no way that he can take that information and generate a $1.7 billion cost to Collier County. So the other point is that the $130 million that the state is going to put into this project here in Collier County is not a cost to you. It's a cost to you only if you don't get it. You've already paid the taxes for those $130 million, and you're not going to get that money back from the state unless we get it for a project such as this here in Collier County. If we do not proceed, and we might not, for a whole lot of reasons, including zoning, that money is going to go to other research firms in other counties. That's your money. Much of it is your money. We are a donor county in Florida. We have to fight to get back some share of your taxes every single year. So don't think that $130 million is an additional cost to you.